Hi, Gemini. It's JJ. This is J Deviance J. Thank you so much for joining me for your April 2017 forecast. Gemini, let's talk. Let's talk. I have a very good feeling about your reading, but at the same time, I feel like we need to have a little bit of a pep talk. Very good one. So one that just reminds you of how important it is to get whatever you need to get off your chest. Let's talk about that, shall we? If you want to, that is. I mean, I'm talking to a screen right now, but if you have something that's been bothering you for a while, it's the impression that I was getting earlier on, then it's best that you get it off your chest before you explode, right? So, and especially since you are an air sign, and air signs are very mental signs, we overthink, we tend to overthink, and when I am going to think about Gemini and Gemini's dichotomy, how you can flip between moods and feelings, your thought processes should be clearer for you to be able to handle things more effectively, because you already have this switch between dark and light and good and bad, and I'm feeling fine and I'm not fine, I'm down, I'm up. And I say this because you are a mutable sign, that's all. So Gemini, if you're feeling groggy and low on energy now, it is natural, it's very normal. Even though we should all be receiving a power boost from Sun in Aries, a lot of planets are dominating Aries right now, and they will be for a while. The Sun is in Aries, and it will move into, well, let's not talk about what it will move into, but Sun is in Aries, Mars, Uranus, Venus is in Aries for a lot of the time now. And yeah, because Venus is retrograde, it will be retrograding back into other signs like Pisces. But while these planets are in Aries, all of us are getting a boost from the powerhouse, because I consider Aries to be a powerhouse sign. Sorry, been having a lot of communication issues recently. Mercury is also going retrograde soon. That's something to watch out for. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. It's just that we can hesitate more when it's a retrograde period. We can feel a bit slower. Our communication skills can slow down, our thinking can slow down, and on the other hand, for some of us, can be more overactive actually, where we are up all night thinking, ruminating, dwelling, etc. When certain planets go retrograde. So for you guys, what I want to say is that, okay, you may be feeling a bit low on energy now, Gemini, but this will change when Mars enters your sign on the 21st, and the days leading up to that, you may feel a little bit anxious, a little bit overwhelmed, and that might trigger you to have some power struggles with people around you. So last month we talked about how this was already somewhat of a theme, that some people may come to you with a feeling like you've been taking them for granted, or that you've been using them to your advantage a bit too much, because things were going uphill for you, and they still are. They still are going up. They are on an uphill trend for you. It's just that because you might be so focused on yourself, your needs, your wants, your goals, you might be a little bit blind to the needs and goals and wants of others. It is completely natural for you to prioritize yourself. Actually, I mean, every sign should prioritize themselves, right? But we shouldn't forget about the people who make it possible for us to succeed as well. So that was kind of like what we discussed last month. And this month, I feel like you guys are really going to grasp the concept, especially, and I have this feeling it has a lot to do with how dominant the sign of Aries is now for us. You're going to get a grasp of how important it is to have people in your life we all have people in our lives, but what I mean is that the role that people play in your life will be emphasized now. You'll start to see the benefit to those who are around you. You'll start to realize truly that if people get annoyed, it is because you may be annoyed. And if people are happy, it is because you can be happy. And if you're sad, people are sad. And we mirror each other. And I can't emphasize this enough, Gemini. It's so important for us to all be on the same page. Our experiences are shaped by the experiences of those around us, actually. How many of you can come back home from a long day of work feeling completely drained and tired because your colleagues were just on your nerves the whole time? But when you come down to really think about it, why did they get on your nerves? Were they on your nerves because, you know, they were out to get you, or were they on your nerves because they were on their own nerves? I mean, they had their own problems going on. You have to think of it that way. If you are surrounded by happy, bubbly people who just want to pump you with even more energy, well, then that's how your day is going to go. So this month will be a month where we truly reflect on how important our interactions with each others are. And it is also a month to really kickstart new desires and wants, because it's only human to do so. We evolve and we grow, and as we get older, our needs and our wants evolve and grow and change as well. You may have wanted to be a rock star 15 years ago, but now you're like, no, that's not for me anymore. Now I'd much rather be a writer. Now I'd much rather focus on something calmer, or I'm thinking of becoming an entrepreneur. The point is, for you right now, Gemini, your career is also really good. I wouldn't be surprised if you experience a financial windfall. That's very possible until like the 13th of April. You're really on top of your game, and any obstacles that you may encounter before the 13th of April, like let's say the first week of April, 5th of April, 7th of April maximum, any run-ins you might have, you will find creative solutions to get out of it. It's nothing that is permanent. It is all temporary. The problem is that people and certain situations you encounter might, be pushing your buttons the wrong way. And this is where we want to watch out. This is where we want to make sure that we give people their space rather than take our distance. So we want to make sure that we're calm, in other words, this month, that we don't let our tongue roll so freely, because we will be held very accountable for everything that we think, everything that we say, particularly everything we think as well. Even if you think your thoughts are private, you have strong manifestation powers, Gemini, especially because you are an air sign. This goes for most air signs, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. When we really think about things and when we process the things that we're thinking, we're more likely to turn those fantasies into realities. Our manifestation powers are so, so strong. And this month for you guys, okay, wow, all these cards popping out. I was only expecting to pull out 5 cards, but that's okay. We'll listen to all of them. Okay, but so this month for you guys, you can find yourself, especially at the beginning of the month, fantasizing, dreaming about your new goals really taking form, dreaming about how you can take your business a step forward, further, how you can make more money because you are gaining financial windfalls, or you are being put in a situation where you can make more money. It's just a matter of, how do I put this? You need to evaluate properly evaluate what your next steps are going to be based on your previous experiences that may have not been so hot. So this month, seriously, Gemini, you're on fire, 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 fire. You have everything that you need, all the resources that you need, including people's support to make it far. However, when it comes to how much you may value or really take to heart people's interactions with you, that might change. Your perspective on the roles that people play in your life might change. So I wouldn't be so surprised if you start to wonder whether or not you have outgrown a few people, and if this means that you, like, who's responsible for this change, or who's responsible for the relationship turning sour or going south, so to speak. And it doesn't have to necessarily be a bad thing, but it's more like you've outgrown each other because you've decided to take on a different new path forward in 2017, where you and people around you are just thinking about advancement, really want to bring your money up. A lot of people have been getting this King of Pentacles. You're really looking at your resources, your skill set, and you want to make sure that you can capitalize on all your skill set at this time very effectively, because all eyes are on you. You've managed to catch the attention of the media, some of you. Some of you have managed to catch the attention of particular authority figures. I've been saying this as well in other readings, where like authority figures are playing a role this month, and that's because our communication is being monitored. And no, I don't. I don't mean this in a paranoid sense, like people are watching your Facebook or people are spying on you through your webcam or anything like that. I just mean that because when Mercury goes retrograde, and Mercury will be going retrograde soon. Venus is still retrograde, right? So let's talk about both these retrogrades. When Mercury goes retrograde, our communication and our thinking and our cognitive processing in general kind of slows down or starts to work. It's again, communication problems, you guys. So it's less that we slow down, but more that our ability to think clearly slows down. And we tend to overthink, and we start to jumble our own thoughts. We start to mix up thoughts. We start to mix up memories. We start to, move things around in our mind. Like we'll imagine that this person said something to us when in fact we meant it was another person who said it. The idea, though, is that people will pay extra attention to communication during this time because they can. Because they feel like if they are unable to be effective communicators themselves, then they may as well listen. And that's the thing that goes for all of us, right? Where we're just like, oh, if we're stumbling and fumbling over our own words, then let's be silent and let's see what this person has to say, and let's see if we can learn something from what this person has to say, which means that we're kind of to some extent holding that person accountable and liable for everything that we learn from them. So we will come to remember what they said a few weeks later, and because of Mercury being retrograde, it might even end up being a faulty recollection of what this person said. But here you want to remember that you need to remember to be fair. You need to remember that we are all human, that people can make mistakes just as much as we can make mistakes. We all make mistakes. We all learn from one another as well. The problem is, though, that we're just so all over the place. We're trying to rush things when most of the major planets are kind of stationary. They look like they're moving backwards, which is why we talk about when planets go retrograde, it looks like they're going backwards, but in fact they're just they're slowing down to an extent that they're not even moving anymore. But we still want to continue with the pace of life, right? We still want to move forward really, really quickly. We don't want to pay attention to the planets in the sky. Heck, a lot of you don't even believe in astrology. And I wouldn't. It's just to each his own sort of thing, right? Like, why should you change your life just because a planet has decided to stop moving for a while because it needs its break? But you know, whether or not we choose to accept it, we are being pulled by other forces that are around us, which we are not necessarily so privy to. Like, we don't really know the inner workings of why these things happen the way that they do. The point is that I wouldn't be surprised if the focal point this month is or involves quite a few different people. I need to move this away from me. Being distracted, sorry. If it involves changing the way that you perceive certain people in your life, because they have also changed the way that they perceive you. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with this, Gemini. It is simply a state of evolution. We all change, we all grow. And Aries' influence on us is to help us find new directions, new passions, and what truly drives us to move forward. And there is nothing wrong if what you had made a priority in 2016, for example, changes now in 2017 because it just wasn't working for you. Why should you waste your time? Why should you waste your time? Here you are, looking at all of the hard work that you put. Here you are doing the same as well, trying to inspect your money, trying to see whether or not the fruit that you've borne as a result of all of this hard work is really worth it. Did you make as much money as you expected you would? Did you strengthen or deepen a bond with someone as you expected you would? Are you getting that return in investment? Have you made enough profit to sustain you, to help you move forward? Even if these were people or situations or ventures or projects that you truly believed in once upon a time, if you're not seeing enough of a gain come out of this energy and this effort that you're putting forth into all these situations, people, etc., then I wouldn't be surprised if you're thinking about cutting certain people off, ending certain projects, not moving forward with that startup company. It will be different for different people. However, you have a lot of resources on your side to get all of these things done very smoothly. You will begin to realize that even if you want to pick a fight with a few people around you, that it's best to sit down and have a calm discussion. And from that, you can gain more insights. So let's see if we can gain even more information from the Deviant Moon Tarot. Saturn is also going retrograde. I forgot to mention that, you guys. Saturn is going retrograde in Sagittarius at 27 degrees Sagittarius, which means that, it's so close, right? It is so close to leaving Sagittarius' sign, but at the same time so far away because it's going retrograde. And it's already a slow planet. Ooh, so we have the Hermit. I'll try to draw as many cards with this deck as I have for the Rider-Waite, using each card that pops up to clarify the card beneath it. So with the Hermit here, the feeling that I'm getting is that your intuition is super, super, super heightened, where you absolutely know when it is that you need to exert your resources, the kinds of resources. So whether it is when it is appropriate for you to exert more feeling and emotion versus more money versus your ideas. Basically, you have endless potential here, Gemini. You really, really do. But this overthinking, this tendency to kind of panic because feelings are a little bit erratic and all over the place for a lot of us, especially with Venus and stuff still being retrograde, and it's kind of like playing on our money, it's playing on our feelings, playing on our emotions, that we go into this hermit-like state and we start to overanalyze, we start to overthink. But the Hermit can also help us really figure out, again, which resource to manipulate and when. There is like the right timing for every case. Okay, we have the Nine of Wands here in the reverse, which is telling me that you're not letting this Tower actually happen. You're putting a stop to this because you might be feeling a bit too overwhelmed, because you don't want, some of you perhaps may not want to admit to yourself that certain projects need to come to an end right now. The Tower card has come up to suggest that certain things are not working out anymore, Gemini, and you need to leave them in the past. If you don't leave them in the past, they're going to continue to haunt you in the future. And this can be relationships, this can be work situations, this can be health-related situations, like making a promise to yourself that you're going to be healthier, that let's say you're going to cut down on meat or sugars or coffee or whatever it is, addictions that we all have, because we all have them, let's not lie now. But this draining of energy that you may feel, which you will regain, okay? Yes, you will regain it, especially around the 21st when Mars enters your sign and you feel confident and like able to take on the world, okay? You're putting an end to this Tower card for now. You're postponing. And there we go. Strength in reverse. What's going on, Gemini? Because you spend too much time looking at that investment that you put out there, and you're just wondering if you need to give it more time. It's sucking the life out of you. And you really, really need to take some time off. With this Four of Swords, you're starting to realize how exhausted you are. Some of you may even be feeling a little bit sick right now. Physically ill, I mean. And as a result of this, your work can't pick up. If you're not feeling on top of your game, you may have missed out on certain important appointments that again you may have had with authority figures, people that it took you quite a long time before you actually caught their attention. And when they finally gave you a break, when they finally noticed you, because yeah, now you are being noticed, well, yeah, it's just unfortunate that you're not on top of your game. You're not feeling on top of your game, despite aspects, planetary aspects, suggesting that you're in a good position to make more money and to receive more money at this time. So again, here with this Seven of Pentacles, the clarifying card that's come out of it is the Six of Pentacles in the reverse. So you're finding it harder and harder to support those around you, to give them their share of the business or their share of whatever project you may have been working on with people around you. Like you might have some business partners, you may have some personal assistants that are still waiting on their pay, for example, or if it's an hourly basis thing, then you may owe some people money. But with this Six of Pentacles being in the reverse, it's almost like you're reticent now to pay off these debts. Perhaps because when you look over your bills and when you look over everything it is that you've earned thus far, realizing that you didn't reach the goal that you wanted, you're incapable now, or not necessarily incapable, but you will be at a loss perhaps if you meet certain debts in this time period, and that can be very stressful. And I do realize that what I'm saying entirely contradicts the fact that you are supposed to be experiencing some sort of financial windfall the first half of April. Oh, okay. All right, calm down. Ooh. Okay. With this Page of Wands, I really get the impression that you will pick yourself up again. You will. And in ways that you never imagined you would before. You're going to try something new. You're going to spice things up. You are not afraid to walk on thin ice. Kind of like this Page of Wands here. And this will be your way of tilting things back in your favor. Or, for some of you, you're walking on thin ice with a Libra. Where this Libra they've reached their end with you, or you've reached your end with them, but it kind of feels like it's the other way around here. And you will either have to resolve it or end it and move on. And this will entirely depend on your dynamics with this person, with the people around you. If you are part of a community and you feel like this is going to cause a ripple effect, for instance, confronting one person may lead to confronting others. If you're part of a community, then this is something that you want to think of course, that you want to approach carefully and wisely. And with this Seven of Swords here, we want to be extra careful that we don't make decisions too fast, and that we don't trip over ourselves or don't say anything that we may regret later on, that we divulge our plans very clearly as we can with those around us. Keeping secrets, keeping things to yourself at this time is really not a good idea, Gemini, and especially when planets slow down. That's usually when we start to notice who is lazy. We start to notice who's lying. We start to notice who's being deceptive. And if you used to beat around the bush or used to get away with a few things, because we can all get away with a few things every now and then, including murder, right? Then I don't know where that came from, but I'm just saying it's true. Like, people can get away with crazy things sometimes. But now, of all times, no. These people are more likely to get caught. We're more likely to get caught red-handed. So that's why I urge everyone during this time period to speak honestly, speak your mind, get things off your chest. If you feel choked, get things off your chest, but just make sure you word things in a way that's not going to leave a bad impression on anyone, right? Family matters are highlighted, especially around the full moon on April 11th, which will also be a full moon in Libra. So perhaps this is trying to draw my attention to tell you that things around the 11th of April may get rather intense, perhaps, with other fellow air signs, as we all have a tendency to kind of get on each other's nerves. This can happen, right? So watch out for that. Family matters might be highlighted in the sense of, again, how you interact with people around you, where you start to realize if you are capable of being mean to people who are not your family, then does this mean that you treat your family in that way as well, unconsciously, without even noticing it? Because family members are people that we have to deal with on a daily basis, so we kind of make it the default. Does that make any sense, Gemini? Are you going to be the one that hides under this table, or are you going to be the one that plays chess? The people who are playing chess here have absolutely nothing to run away or hide from. They are speaking their thoughts clearly, very intellectually, using their intellectual capacity. They are avoiding this Seven of Swords situation, whereas this person, who's also a child, so someone who's rather immature, has a lot to hide from. They're hiding from their demons. They're hiding from, you know, they're afraid of getting caught. And they are usually the ones that have to watch their back. So it's a bit of a strange reading. Nonetheless, I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you found it beneficial. I want to thank everyone for their continuous support. I want to thank everyone who's gotten a private reading from me. Private readings in March have just been absolutely incredible and outstanding. The month is still going on, so yeah, feel free, if you'd like to contact me for anything, feel free. I will leave the link below. And I wish you guys a very, very successful April 2017. I'll be back to do mid-month readings. I'm also announcing the launch of mid-month readings, which means that, you know, you can hold me accountable. If I don't get around to doing it, you can poke me and be like, hey, where's my mid-month reading, JJ? I'm waiting for my reading. And I will get to it. I will get to it. I need some boost that way. Okay, you guys. So, namaste.